So I started working my program, and the kind of sentence that they gave me was unheard of. They ran my time consecutive, one after the other. So after doing 3 flat, I had to do 3 to 15, so 2.5 of that, and then 5. So it was like, you know, there was like I was never going to get out, ever.
So once you finish one sentence, here comes the next one.
Right.
Wow.
So then I get to the parole board for the first time, and they let me go.
Wow.
Yeah, well, they had to because I was over the guideline. I had 50 months over my guideline.
Wow.
That means I did 50 months over the time that I should have. People that were committing murder
were getting out
before me. Yeah.
How was that like? I remember when I got out, and I was in for probably half the time, I did 4.5. And so how was that like after 8.5 years? Like a lot changes in that time.
I was telling him.
You had children. Why don't we talk about that? What was that like when you first got out? Experiencing that.
Well, I was saying earlier to him that I couldn't believe the cell phones. Everybody.
Remember the pagers, huh?
Yeah, and my daughter's father had one of them big cell phones with the bag like that you plugged into the car or the cigarette lighter in the car, and you had to pick it up, and you had the big old long. And I was like, I couldn't believe everybody I seen had a phone. So first thing I did was get a phone. Yeah, even though it was illegal at the halfway house, I still got one. You know, so some things don't change.
Sure.
Well, it was, and for my kids, to be honest with you about that, I'm still sensitive with that.
Sure, I bet.
That's a part of my life that it still hurts because I seen what my mother did to me happen in my children's life.
Sure.
No, they weren't molested, they weren't beat, but they were abandoned.
Yeah.
And I can't, like my son now who's 27, he's going through it. He's going through it, and I can't explain to him the feeling it feels when you feel helpless to help one of your children. My daughter did real well, even though she was 7.5 when I left. She was 16 when I came home. I sent her to live in Alabama with her grandmother, her father's mother, and she just graduated in August from the University of Alabama.
Wow, that's awesome.
With her bachelor's in science and psychology.
Wow.
So she did really well. I did, but I had to take that chance of her hating me.
Sure.
Because I sent, not only she didn't have me or her father, she didn't have her brothers.
Right.
She was somewhere far away, but I knew that if I sent her there, she'd make it.
They take care of her.
She'd make it. My boys, they're very strong-minded, very positive people. Both of them have jobs. They know what they have to do. But see, God has a plan. And they don't understand that part of it because they won't surrender. Because they, just like me, can do it. I don't need anybody's help.
I wonder where they got that one from.
Right. Right. And, well, it's the truth, though. And I see that, but see, that's what God's all about, though. He lets you see things that are unexplainable to anyone else but me.
Right.
You know, and watching them go through this, it's like, you know, I told him, I said, he's tapping, because I've raised my children in the church. I just got caught up. I always loved the Lord. So even after I left for prison, they continued to go to church, but the church let them down. So
which makes me think about something. For us, one of the things that we're really passionate about doing is also being able to help the children get things, like while the parents are locked up. And how much would that have helped for your kids? I mean, here's an actual situation of you with your kids, to have somebody who understands the situation, understands that you're gone, and understands, like, how much would that have helped to have a
I think that would have, because my children only got to see me once a month. And for me,
in a sense, they're orphans.
Right.
When they're in there.
And their father ended up doing crack.
Sure.
So not only was I in prison, but their father was a crackhead. So that left them to fend for themselves.
Sure. One thing I want to tell you too, just like as I'm listening to this, because I can identify with a lot of it, is you said, you know, you saw your mother's situation and you felt the neglect in that, and you, in a sense, you did the same thing and you became the thing that you hated.
Right.
Like I did a video not that long about how I had that same experience in my life. Like my dad was an addict. He was abusive. He was this messed up dude, you know. And I said, I'll never be like him. I'll never be like him, you know. And then you end up becoming, you know, in a sense, what you hate. Yeah. But one thing I want to tell you that's amazing, that takes a lot of courage, is you haven't stayed there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you may have made some mistakes, and so I just want to remind you, like, as you're on this journey of this new life, like, don't beat yourself up and realize, like, you realize that you did some things wrong, but you're trying to make things right. And so that's never going to change what's happened, but at the same time, like, you're not repeating the cycle by acknowledging that. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's power in saying, hey guys, I wasn't there, I want to make things right, and however long it takes, I want to make things right, and that's powerful.
Not too long ago, my son's friend came over, and he's sitting on the couch, and I'm OCD real bad. I don't know if it's from being in that cell or what happened, but nothing can be out of place. So I'm straightening up, and he's watching me, and he's like, you know, Jeaneen, he said, I thought AJ got that from his dad. He said, but, you know, he said, and he said something that kind of hit me where I needed to be hit so I could be, like, awakened, so to speak. He said, but we never talked about you coming up. And he said, whenever somebody would mention his mom, he would get real angry and mean, and I never knew that. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. He said he wouldn't let anybody discuss his mother. He was ready to fight. And so up until that point, you know, like my boys now, I'm mom, and
it's been a while. They're used to seeing you now.
Right, but it's not deep.
Sure.
It's not deep-rooted, right. Even though they were 11 and 12 when I left. So, I mean, it's not like they were young, they didn't know who I was. I don't know which way would have been better.
Yeah.
Neither, I assume, but since it was at hand, you know, they had values, right. Work values, because that's what made them who they are today. See, they don't recognize that right now.
Sure. I think that'll take time, though, you know.
Really?
And I guess that's what I'm saying is like don't be so hard on yourself. I think for them, like,
it's killing me,
you know, when you're late teens, early 20s, which it sounds like that's about where they're at, it's like you, first of all, you don't even know who you are as an individual. Right. You know, I'm going to be 34 in June. And I feel like I'm just finally figuring out who I am.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
And so I wouldn't necessarily take that personal. You know, I would just take it as, hey, they're growing, they're maturing. You've gone through this, like, life-shaking situation of me being gone for 8 years, of them not being connected with me for 8 years. That's going to take some time, you know. So I think you're doing amazing. I really do. Your story is incredibly inspiring. You know, what I don't want to end on a heavy note. Why don't you got a Calhoun County College shirt on? Why don't you talk about what you're doing now?
Oh, I'm doing so much now. When I finally, when God finally helped me realize that I can't save the world, I gotta save me. Because I was a caretaker. I was always, I'll do it, only to stop seeing what I was seeing inside of myself. Because I didn't know how to fix me. I could fix you, but I couldn't fix me, you know? So, yeah, I started going to Lorain County Community College. And I gotta tell you, it was a challenge there, but it was such a challenge where it made me even want it more. Because when I feel like somebody's trying to defeat me, it makes me try harder.
Right.
I love it. I do.
Awesome. So tell us about your grades. How you doing?
Well, when I first started, that was a little challenging because, you know, 30 years of being out of school is a long time.
Shut up, yeah.
And I was looking at these books and I'm like, Lord, okay, you know the plan and I don't right now, so can you help a sister out? Can you just give me some kind of knowledge here? And then the first semester it wasn't so bad, and then when I finally figured out that I could do it, that I wanted to do it.
Sure.
That each time I did a paper and I got a B, I wanted an A.
Yeah.
The B was no longer acceptable.
Sure.
You know, so it was something in that transformation of learning and knowing and becoming who I wanted to be for the first time in my entire life. That's how, 4.0, yeah, that's
awesome.
me.
Straight A's, that's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
We'll insert a round of applause there. Stay here for the intro.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
What I found out the hard way was because validation is so important in someone's life. And a lot of people don't validate who you are as a person. I had to learn to validate myself. It's okay to love yourself. It's okay. You don't have to put up that facade like I told you earlier. I'm a tough guy. I don't need love. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Validate yourself in any way you can. If it's going, taking a shower, to clean yourself up, get up every day and take a shower. That's my recommendation. Not because of the cleanliness part of it, but after you, yeah. And then you get a fresh start on where you want to go. Everyone needs validation, just to let me know, like you telling me, you know, that's a tough thing that you've been through, but you made it, you know, that's sometimes all somebody needs to hear. It's okay, somebody sees it, you know? My children right now, they don't see that. And I think my validation was coming from them seeing, okay, my mom's home, she's gonna be a better mom, she's gonna be there for me. I want them to know that, but I can't show them that unless, or tell them that, I've got to show them. And they validate me in a lot of ways, you know. But self gratification goes a long way. It really does. I had to have something to hold on to. And all the negativity that's in this cruel, vicious world that we live in, it's hard to find someone who is positive in a negative situation. I just threw myself into the Lord until He gave me my vision. And He's real. And the only thing the Bible cannot do is fail. It validated me in areas I didn't even know I needed validation. Sometimes just a little thing, you can do it, Jeaneen. You know, my parole officer was my mentor. The least person you expect, you know. But she never gave up. She always kept telling me, Jeaneen, you can do this. You only need one person. As far as the jobs go, you gotta keep pushing. It's like coming down the birth canal. I was telling my son, you know, it's so hard, you know? I said, but once you get out, it's open for everyone, you know?
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. No, that's good. So that's, would you say that has definitely helped you out then?
Yes.
Just having that, you know. So thank you so much for your time. You know, we just want you to know, like, we're here for you, anything you need. Like, I know you've been out for a while, you're doing fine, but just know, like, with us, you've got a support system. You've got good people to hang out with. Like, we believe in you, we believe you're going to succeed. But even when you finish school, you know, we believe that God can restore the relationship with your kids. Like,
I know that.
Just if you don't have anybody else to tell you, just know that, like, we're proud of you. And it's amazing. It's amazing how far you came, really. And so don't be too hard on yourself. Like,
it's
you've
hard.
been through hell. You've been through hell, like, really. And so we're proud of you, and I know God, He's proud of you, and He's smiling at you.
Even with the cigarettes, Patrick?
Yeah, even with the cigarettes.
When you said that day, you did something for me that I couldn't get into church. Do you understand what I'm saying? The sprays, the hand sanitizer, so nobody smells the cigarettes on me, you know. And then when my only confession was to you was what? I smoke cigarettes. And you're like, Jeaneen, I don't think God's looking at you, like, you know, and I'm like, well, thank you, because I couldn't breathe up until that point. You know what I mean? And it only took you to do that. You know, and then I'm still okay.
Absolutely.
Even though I smoke.
Yeah, yeah. I think
not for long, though.
If we saw half the crap people did in their personal lives.
I know, and that's kind of what I'd like to see sometimes, so I don't feel so bad.